Computer. Okay, good evening. This is November's astrophotography meeting. It's going to be pretty much just a informal conversation, learn from each other, learn from the experts, I should say. And it'll be as long as it takes. If it's 10 minutes or 70 minutes, it'll be what it'll be. We missed last month because we didn't have enough agenda items. I think we got enough to at least make it interesting this evening. So. Okay, always first thing for new folks, if you have any specific questions for this group of experts, this is the time to ask questions, and if not, we'll get into the agenda. All right, going
Um,
once. Go, yeah, there
no,
we go.
so I
Am
have a
Yep.
question.
Yes.
Um, I collected a lot of data on Andromeda Galaxy, and I processed RGB L, and it looks great. I like it. And now I have hydrogen alpha, and I watched all the YouTube videos, not all, but a lot of YouTube videos, and tried three different methods. I tried image blend. I tried pixel math and the script NB RGB combination. And every time I add hydrogen alpha, it looks ugly. I mean, it doesn't look like what I see on the web. So maybe I'm off the steps, but on the YouTube, they show the final product, the LRGB, and then they use one of the described methods and they add hydrogen alpha with certain intensity, like zero 0.2 to zero 0.7, so it doesn't overpower the image.
Right.
And it looks great. And I used the master that I got after stacking in WBPP. And then I tried continuum subtraction to get only the hydrogen alpha on the edge of the galaxy. Doesn't work. So I was wondering if someone.
We have probably the world's best.
Mr. Devin.
Devin's got it. I don't think I've seen a better one. Devin, what do you
How did you
say?
get that? There's a glow. There's an HA glow in there on the one you did.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back to when I did that. I think that was one of my maybe my second image that I did when I was over in Memphis. And I don't even think the narrow band RGB combination tool was available at that point. I want to say I was kind of in the same boat as you. I watched some YouTube videos and just messed around with the different intensity levels. And uh, I really wish I could remember how I did that. I want to say that was almost 5 years ago now.
Yeah, it's been a
What
while.
color? What color should it be? Should it be reddish, or would you go to a different color?
You in image blend, it's a very powerful tool. I just discovered it recently. You can pick the color. So for hydrogen alpha, I did pick reddish. And
Right.
once you add it, and there are different ways like multiply, burn, screen, whatever. I tried multiple. And you specify how much you want the intensity.
Hmm.
And once I add, everything turns red.
I'm thinking that there's that is it the continuum subtraction tool now that we have where you can
Hmm.
subtract the actual red
Yep.
light length from the hydrogen alpha so it doesn't like overpower your red channel as well. Have you
Well,
looked into that one?
I have, yeah, I have the master with all hydrogen alpha, and I
Hmm.
have the continuum subtraction,
Hmm.
which takes, red channel away and leaves just pure hydrogen alpha. And I think that one is even worse because it
Mhm.
gets that background that gets interpreted as red, and then the entire background becomes red as well. So I'll play with it more. And if you don't mind, Devin, I don't want to take a lot of time tonight. Uh, I may reach out to you with some examples, maybe.
Of course, of course.
Okay.
I think I still actually have my original data. I've been meaning to go back and play around with that now that we have like all these new updates to PixInsight and all these new tools. So maybe we could add that onto the agenda as well for if people are
Yeah,
interested.
that would be great. And I'll keep playing. And If I get it, I'll provide an update.
And how many hours did you have, Devin? It seemed like it was 100 hours or something of image.
Ooh, I want to say, let me double check here. I want to say it's just over 50.
50. I thought it was more. It is one of the best ones I've ever seen on the
I
internet.
appreciate
And
that.
that was pre-BlurX and NoiseX.
Yes, it
Yeah,
was.
yeah, I remember.
I have it listed here as 52.75 hours on that
Okay.
one.
And how much was that HA?
HA 222 images at 5 minutes.
Well, so
So
60.
several hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have about the same amount. I have total about 54 hours of data, 34 go to LRGB, and then I have about 8 hours of hydrogen alpha and some oxygen and sulfur. But I didn't even touch oxygen and sulfur. I just wanted to try first with hydrogen and yeah. Okay. Thank you, Devin. You may hear
course.
from me
Of
after this
course.
weekend. Thanks.
We'll do our best.
Okay, cool. Well, Devin, since you're talking, why don't you just keep on doing so?
All right.
On the there was a lot of activity in recent time with the comments, and you provided us some good data. I messed around with it, but I've never done a comment before, and you and Steve have and done good work. So share with us if you could the process, and this will get recorded for future generations.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Meryl. That's why I'm here.
Of course. This is
Was
actually
that
only.
Mike?
Yes, must be mine.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here with Kelly.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
This is actually only my second comment I imaged. The last one I imaged was last year. What one was that? Was that Alice? Let's see here. Yeah, the Atlas comet. That one, that was a lot of learning, let me tell you. Because we're so used to imaging like these big galaxies and the nebulas that are so far away that, night to night you can image the same thing over and over again and get all those faint details. But those comets, they're so close to Earth and moving so fast that you have, the data that you collect that one single night is the data that you have available. You can't do multiple nights in a row because that comet's going to be in different spots. And so I learned that one the hard way the first time I imaged a comet, not realizing, that it's, moving really fast past Earth. And so I tried to stack 2 nights of data together, and it was just a total mess. It couldn't recognize the stars because obviously the star positions were different. So that was my first experience. And then this time I was up in a dark sky site trying to image this comet. And my learning experience was just how little time you have to image these comets. It seems like the last 2 that we've had, they've been pretty low in the sky, and you have maybe an hour or 2 to image them before they're gone and they set too low. And even this time around, the one-shot color cameras, I think have a little bit of an advantage because you're capturing all that RGB data in one go, so you can set up and just image from the get-go. With my setup, I've got mono, so I have to get my luminance, my R, G, and B. So there's a lot of time wasted switching filters, refocusing, all that stuff. And so with this data that I shared with everyone, turns out the luminance data, which I shot first, actually turned out to be the worst data because that's when that comet was starting to get pretty low in the horizon. And you get the light dome of the close by city and whatnot. And even when I was going through my data tonight, I zoomed in looking at all the different channels, and these lights were 60 seconds a piece. The RGB, totally perfect round stars. Luminance was starting to kind of trail even at 60 seconds on an EQ
Are you
mount.
showing us something right now, Devin?
I don't
Are you
think so.
describing?
I was
describing?
just kind of talking
Okay,
and
good.
rambling here.
Keep going.
Are you going to share anything?
Yes, I've
Okay,
got everything set up on Pix Insights. I don't know, how do I share my screen here?
I had to give you permission to share. Go at the bottom. It says share, so you should be able to do it now.
Oh, sure. Yep. All right. Everyone see?
It's coming up.
Not yet. It's coming though.
There it is.
Okay. So after you collect all of your data, obviously first step here is your WBPP. And I'm sure, Steve, were you going to touch on this eventually, kind of how to go through all these settings? Was that discussed?
Sure.
I can't remember.
Uh, First of all, I'd like to comment on your data, which
Hmm.
you have really good metadata. So that directory button in the bottom left and choosing a
Yes.
folder with all this stuff randomly in there puts everything in the right place.
Yep.
So I commend you on that. Okay. So there you have the data loaded in WBBP. Go over to that bias tab on the top.
Oh, on the top. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So with biases, they're just darks, Devin, and you only need about 8. And you don't have to
Do you
have
really?
yeah, and you don't have to have the colors. It's just like
Okay.
a dark. It's just like a
Hmm.
dark. But
I see. I see.
okay, and now go to the darks. We're just going to defaults there.
Actually, I don't even have one loaded. I have a master dark
Yeah, and
somewhere, but
the data you provided, we do have the master dark,
perfect.
and that would be there. Then we have the
Hmm.
flat. Let's do the flats, and again, all that you can see all that's perfect.
Yep.
And then yeah, then you have the lights, and here's where I would deviate from defaults on image integration. Go ahead and hit that gear by image integration. A little
Where
higher,
are we
a
looking
little
here?
lower. Image integration is in blue
Oh,
type.
right here. Yep.
Okay, and the not registration, integration. Let's close that.
Next to the bottom of the.
Oh,
There
yep.
you
I
go.
see it.
Okay, so rather than doing an auto rejection, I would choose go ahead and hit that auto and do the generalized extreme studentized deviant,
Mm,
and then go ahead and close with that red X. And you know, I would. Is there a reason why we can't do an solution? Why is that gray?
I'm not quite Oh, probably because I just don't have it
Okay,
selected,
good.
to be
Okay,
honest.
I like to do that. I mean, that way.
Yes.
I mean, with this data, I guess it's meaningless.
Hmm.
Uh, but with most data, you want to have that on.
Yep.
And then now let's go over to calibration. Here's what this is why Devin's data was so good. So click on those biases, the top bias. That you're in the flat. So see how the bias
Sorry.
is right there is uh okay. So okay, why is that status on the lights wrong? Let's click on that first light, the blue. I'm trying to figure out why we have the warning there. Let's see.
Oh,
Oh,
it's probably because we don't have our dark.
because we don't have a dark,
Yep.
the cosmetic correction will not work. So go ahead and click off automatic
Yeah.
and
So I do that, and then I've got a little preset that I did here for the cosmetic correction.
oh, that's even better. Let's
Yep.
do the templates and apply that to the whole group.
Hmm.
Do you find that you need that, Devin?
I I
mean,
don't
you had-
know. I remember a long time ago we had kind of discussed about the WBPP settings, and doing like your own template at that time was better than the automatic correction. I'm not sure, there's been so many updates now if that has changed.
Well,
Yeah,
yes.
I find the automatic cosmetic correction worthless.
Hmm.
Oh, okay.
I do not use it.
I was thinking about the cosmetic correction at all.
It's a big deal, and you could if you blink, Meryl, if you blink, just even your darks, your flats,
Hmm.
your lights. If you just grab a bunch of them, blink them, and zoom in there, you see a bunch of hot pixels,
So many.
Yeah.
and
Well,
and cosmetic correction gets rid of all of them that your darks can't get rid of.
well, okay, but they after you integrate, they still show up. You're saying?
Yeah.
I'm hit and miss on that. So I'm.
Not only do they show up when you're in the when WBB does a register, it thinks they're stars.
Hmm.
Even
And
though they're 1 pixel.
Yeah,
No, they're not even 1 pixel.
yeah. Well, they're at least a pixel, but
Are they?
yeah. So
Yeah, you're right.
I've had stuff misregistered because I didn't cosmetically correct it.
Okay.
So
Yeah. I mean,
I think it's a really important
yeah,
step.
it's something I do with all of my images, at least is the template that I made. Now I'm wondering, I'm sure you probably have to update that every so often with these camera sensors. 'Cause won't new hot pixels pop up?
Right, and cosmetic corrections help with that, and your darks
Hmm.
help with that.
Yeah, yeah.
So your
So
darks you should be doing. Mario, you do 1 a quarter.
Now say that
About
again.
a dark library about once a quarter or twice a year, or what do
If
you
I'm
do?
not lazy, I,
I think that,
I do it whenever I have time. Find it's rainy outside, and I'll do some.
okay, good. They say Devin about once a quarter
okay. Yep, that makes sense.
and get a new library going.
Good. I'm glad that you went over that because actually one of the issues I ran into when I was processing this data and pretty much all the data that I have is that my pixel rejection isn't the greatest and it doesn't always get rid of the satellite and the plane trails 100%. And I'm wondering if it's because with this image integration right here, if I
That
just didn't
that
have the right thing selected.
that's going to be a big help.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Uh, that's the best one out there so far.
Yep.
And then so now we're in caliber. So now we got
Calibration, post calibration,
yeah,
and
and
that.
here uh, believe it or not, if Devin's data is already it's full frame. I don't know if anybody's downloaded it yet, but it's full frame, so huge files. So Drizzle, you would definitely I'd enable that at 1x, and it'll make the stars a little bit better. And if I want to kick the file size up, I would put 3x. But and believe it or not, it does a great job. It's a great upsampler.
Does it?
Yeah.
I've never actually tried to include drizzle data into my
Well,
work.
it really improves the stars,
Hmm.
especially.
I'll have to try that.
And if you go and it also it's great. NASA developed the technology, and they open
That's
source it,
neat.
and these people just took it.
I'm
And
always worried about like data size whenever I offload my thumb drive, and I'm transferring over like over 100 gigs of data
Oh
usually
yeah.
with my projects.
yeah, I know.
It's so much.
Yeah, taking full frames. You do.
Yeah,
What did you ever consider doing less than full frame? I see. I spend half my time taking half frames just because I
that's
don't
true. I
need.
suppose you could use, is that the ROI setting or something like
Yeah,
that?
I mean, if we get a chance, I'll show you what I use on my Nina
Yeah.
to do that. But
And
yeah,
then
the images go from 120 megabytes each to 33 or something like that.
That'd be helpful. I've got I think it's a 2 terabyte solid state drive that I offload all my stuff onto when I start working on a new project. And I swear, like after WBPP, that thing is like at least half full, if not more. Uh,
all
but
right, well, let's look at the final
cool.
tab of the pipeline, and that's just everything that's going to happen here.
Hmm.
Okay, so
Yep.
and then when you hit run, uh, yeah, go back to the calibration tab. Oh, that's fine. You can just cancel that. Oh, good. We can get there. Like click on the one of the flats. Okay, see how the flats are being calibrated with the bias. See how that's green,
Hmm.
and it's that particular flat is going to calibrate the light, which is right below it. So I like to go through and click on all these, just make sure they're all lining up. See how they're all lining up? They
Yep.
get bold. Yeah. And the bad news about this is just one small step. And the purpose of this exercise is to get good stars and
Yes.
also to get register, to get the register, which you need for competent line,
Hmm.
that folder. So then Devin would hit run and then it would take how long, Devin? Long time.
Actually, no, on my new PC now, I just ran, oh, how many gigs do I have on the lobster claw? So this one is 363 gigs in there, and it took my computer 2.5 hours
Yeah,
to
okay, that's
process
not
it
bad.
all.
Yeah, not bad.
I'm not using that laptop anymore. That would take me over 20 hours to run WBPP.
That's a big plus.
Yeah.
All right, so why don't you show the folder what happens when WBPPs run the master folder, and or do you still have that?
I do.
Okay.
So you kind of get like all of your intermediate files here once you run your WPP, where it gets your calibrated frames. I'll go through your cosmetization. I'll give you any logs. I've never actually looked through this, but I'm assuming it's just kind of all the processes that occurred during the WBPP, and any errors it ran into. You can find it here in the logs. Try and see where it went wrong. And then it will give you your registered frames, which we will use for our comets. And then in here is your master files where you'll find all your stacked flats, biases, your master dark, and your master lights.
Okay, move that. Are you seeing that folder right now?
Which one?
Are you seeing the folder? Can you move that over to the PixInsight screen? Or are you describing a folder? Or are you describing PixInsight?
I was just describing like all these folders right here that the PixInsight creates when it's going through the
Oh, okay,
WBPP process.
gotcha.
Yep. Was there anything else you want to touch on with these?
No, I think we're on to common align, right? What is your next step?
Awesome. So my next step here, so once you run, you got all your files loaded up in WBPP here. You run this, and this is essentially to align all of your stars. So you have your LRGB stars. You'll run that, you'll get your master files from that. And I kind of went through and did a lot of this little intermediate stuff to save some time here. But what you'll end up with is all of this window. And you can see, this is actually luminous data here. You can kind of see how those stars are starting to trail a little bit there. And you can actually see when you zoom in, it didn't do the greatest job with removing the satellites and
Right.
planes there. But regardless of that, you end up with these very nice stacked stars. They're well aligned. You're going to see some funky stuff here in your comet due to the pixel rejection, I think, from the WPP process. Not a problem with this because we're just using these images here for our stars.
Right.
So my next process is so once you stack all of your stars, I like to go through and here, I gotta move that over there. I like to go through and I use blur exterminator here. I'll correct the stars for any blurriness. And then I've got a separate one here. I've got two different setups here. And then I'll go through it and I'll use the second one here for the stellar sharpening. I turn off the non-stellar because we're not worried about that comet. And it just cleans up your stars very, very nicely. I can try and go through, and I'm not sure if it will show very well through a shared screen, but we'll see
It
here.
will. This will be good.
It might actually be quicker if I just did a little preview instead of the whole image. But we're about 80% done. So that was just the correct only, and you can see right there already. I don't know if you can see that or not.
Yeah, they're good round stars.
Yeah, they look fluffy.
Yeah, you see, so right here, they're kind of fluffy, slightly oblong, and that just kind of tightens those stars up, a nice little bit right there.
Mm-hmm.
If we do a quick, let me just do a preview here. And then I like to go into the blur exterminator right here. We'll turn off the non-stellar, and I do about the 0.25 star sharpening. You can adjust that slider as you please. And I will apply that, and it will just tighten those stars up quite a bit more.
Yeah.
So like really helps reduce all those and makes it a very nice clean image. So that's kind of the process I go through with my stars. The next step that I would do with those is then sorry, I gotta refer to my notes here. I use Star Exterminator. You can see here, these aren't stretched yet. I'll apply a stretch. They're going to look kind of gross and nasty right now, but with the stretch on. But I'll use Star Exterminator to remove the stars from that image there. And this actually, when it kind of bloats everything out like this, it really helps show you some of the leftovers from the comet that you can see right here. And I will actually use a clone stamp to go in there, and I will clear all that stuff out, create a nice image. It shows, highlights the star trails, or not star trails, the satellite trails that were left behind, and just really clean up that star image. So that's kind of where I leave the stars for now. Then we start to get into the comet align that you will find under your processes. Where am I looking here? Comet align. You can see I already have some of these files loaded up. Since I shoot in RGB, I have to go through and comet align each of the different channels here. And with this here, actually, I'll just clear that out. So you can go into add files. I'm going to go under the align comet right here. I've already previously aligned these ones, but you would actually go under the, I think it's the registered, so PI, you'd go into your registered stars right here, and you would select all of your registered data right here. So we'll go with the blue channel. Load all those into the comet align. And then down here under parameters, you can see show first image, show last image. You want to select your first one up here. And hopefully with all the metadata, all of this will be time stamped, and it will organize this from the first image you took to the last image that you took. So you're going to show your first image. You can apply an auto stretch to this, or I mean, I know that my comet nucleus is right here. So you'll zoom in and you want to find that nucleus of the comet right here, and you're going to define that area. It's just a left click right there. It will kind of put that circle there. And then you'll do the last, or the same thing for the last image. Zoom in, you can define where that nucleus is. If you want to visualize that a little better, just apply your stretch to it. And so that is just telling this comet align, because this is only 10 minutes of data, but over that 10 minutes, that nucleus of the comet is slowly moving through your frames. And so this is telling the comet align process where the start of that comet is, where the end of that comet is, so then it can align the nucleus of that comet together. So you'll end up with a nicely stacked comet, and then your stars will be streaked. Whereas WBP is the opposite. You're telling the, essentially you're telling the WPP where like all those stars are to align those, and your comet will be streaked. So that's how you kind of end up with your two different sets of images there that we will work with. So after you run that process, you're gonna have all of your aligned comets. What I like to do next is you go into your Star Exterminator, and there's this little button right here, which is the process batch. And you can go into this. It'll just allow you to select like an output folder and whatnot, like where you want to send all of your images to. And then you select your input files here, and you would go back to your, stacked images here. You go to your aligned comet, you would select all of your aligned images now, load them up, and then you'd run this process, and Star X would then go through each of these individual images and just remove all of those stars and leave you with, hopefully, a starless image. So you can load all those up. Oh no, did I actually start the process? I might have accidentally started the process here. We'll just exit out of that. And then what you're left with is hopefully abort. What you're left with, is there a way to stop this? I don't know why it's,
It stopped. Oh, it didn't.
no, it's still going. I'm trying to hit the abort, but it does not want to abort. Weird. So what you're left with will be hopefully these nice starless images. And the next process, so once you get these starless images, you're going to go into image integration, which I believe is another process here.
Devin, can you load one of your registered frames real quick?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Let's just do a normal screen transfer stretch. Can you, if that thing's not still working, can you drag on there Star X?
Yes.
I'll choose one that has a satellite trail. That one, that was a perfect frame.
Let me see. Actually, you know what? I think a lot of my luminance data had the. Let me go into the luminance here and see if I can find one. Gee. There we
Yeah,
go.
perfect. Yeah, I just drag Star X over there. I just want to show how beautiful this rejection that's going on here is.
Oh, what is going on?
It might still be trying to do that process.
I think, yeah, I think it was. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, I lost the leg now. Okay.
So this batch that Devin was talking about, I just wanted you to see one of these happen.
There it goes.
Yeah. And when you do that process batch, you can tell it not to do the stars because you don't need them.
Correct. Yep.
So you can see and look at that. That's just a perfect. So now that when he integrates, because of this, he doesn't have to worry about any rejection algorithms
Mm-hmm.
because StarX did it all for us.
Yep.
Okay, I think you're about ready to talk about integration.
Yes. Yeah. So because we already worked with our stars through WBBP, we don't need these star images again. So you can throw all of those away. And you will be left with these nice, clean, clear images. So the process, so after you do your star exterminator, the batch processing of all of your images, you'll go into your image integration. Image integration right there. And once again, you will load up all of your individual frames through your either your one-shot color or your LRGB individually. And this is where I started playing around with some settings, especially because on my luminance, I was having a heck of a time trying to get rid of these stars close. And even on all this other data right here, you can see that it didn't do a very good job right close to that nucleus. You still have these little tiny blips from the star trails. It does a pretty good job, I'll say, except for it gets a little confused around the nucleus. So I tried messing around with some of these pixel rejection parameters here in the image integration to see if I could get rid of it. I really could not. It kept eating away at the nucleus itself, taking parts of the comet tail out. I couldn't really dial in anything specific through the image integration to get rid of these little bits and pieces right here. What I ended up doing was using the game script to create kind of a mass circle around the nucleus and just really fine tuning it, and then using the star exterminator again to pick up on these little itty bitty dots. So that seemed to work for me. I mean, it was very tedious and time consuming trying to figure it out, and just, we made it work.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, and then the other thing that I did notice was that Star Exterminator had a little bit of a hard time getting rid of, like, you can still kind of see here, it might be hard to see on your guys' end, but these little smudges through here from the star trailing, it has a bit of a hard time, I think, getting rid of some of that stuff in there. So I just used the clone stamp to come in here, clean that up a little bit, get rid of some of those smudges. And I suppose it depends on how you want to frame this. I think I did a 9x16, so I cut a lot of this dead space out, which helped a little bit. So just a couple things to keep in mind. It's not perfect. It does a very good job, but not totally perfect. So you get into the image integration. Here, I switched it over to no normalization because we've already done all of that. And then in the pixel rejection here, I did the what's in the pixel? I think this is the pixel rejection. Yeah, just no rejections or anything like that, since all that stuff has been done. And then I haven't touched any of these other settings through here. Since there's no stars, we didn't do any weights. And then you just run that process. It will, this image, this red through here, the RGB, this is all stacked afterwards. So you end up with those nice images. This is now kind of where I did a lot of that cleanup, getting rid of those extra stars around the nucleus there, clone stamping, really starting to clean up my image. I think I ran some noise exterminator through this with the auto stretch. I mean, you can really see there's a lot of noise still in here. So I just kind of overall like to clean up my images before I combine them together into a colored image. I know some people don't always like to do noise exterminator before. Some people like to do it after you combine. Some people do it before you combine. I'm one of those people that kind of does it before you combine, and then I'll use a little bit of a lighter noise exterminator later on down the processing road if needed. This is also where I suppose you can't see it on these ones, but through the stacking process, you'll get that just that overlap of your images. So your edges along your frame will be kind of choppy, and sometimes they'll be blacked out. So I will use a dynamic crop to really kind of crop those images down to the size that I want. Dynamic crop, so you can kind of mess around with it however you please. You can put in your width and height depending on what ratio you're trying to get up here on the process itself. You can go ahead, check that, it'll crop it down. Make sure though, if you're going to use dynamic crop, to take this little triangle, put it off to the side. It is going to save all of these settings right here that you just used to crop this image of your comet. Because if you end up cropping, you'll want to do the same thing for your stars right here. So everything, so everything aligns properly. Just a little tidbit. What else did I do here? Clone stamp. This is where I got into the game script, and like I said, the Star Exterminator. If you have not seen the game script, let me pull up. I think that's under utilities. Yes, game. So I can't remember when this one came out, but it is very handy. So I just put a little auto STF on there so we can visualize what we're doing. I haven't messed around with this too much to be able to do the multi-point and whatnot, but I will just use the eclipse here. It puts this little eclipse on your screen, and then you can adjust it to whatever you're trying to mask and protect. With these masks, they kind of fade out, so I do a little bit of a larger one. This is honestly, I think what took me the most time was just trying to dial this in. So once you get something that you think you're satisfied with, you can hit OK. It's going to generate a mask here for you, and then you just drag that over onto your image there. And right now, the red is protecting everything. The only thing that would be affected by any processes that you do is now the nucleus, which we're trying to protect. So if you right click on that, go into your mask, you can invert it. And now we have the mask protecting just the nucleus itself. And then, yeah, you just kind of mess around with whatever you're trying to do. If you're trying to clean up those little star tidbits there, that's what helped me. So
Devin,
yes.
there's another tool that I think is surpassing this one.
Yes.
Oh,
Frank-
is there?
I was
Frank
wondering you
created-
would ask it.
Frank created it. It's called Blemish
Fame.
Blaster, right? Is that the name?
Fame.
Which one is it?
Oh, he's
Fame.
got Fame, but he also has Blemish Blaster. Which
Oh
would
yeah, if you want to get just a specific,
Oh.
if you want to, but if you want to make masks, I mean, Fame is, in my opinion, better than Game.
right.
Okay.
Have you tried that?
It surpassed the game.
Go click on it just to
Interesting, okay.
see.
Yep.
Just see what.
See all the shapes you get to do, and you do freehand. You can last
Freehand
all
brush,
your
right.
area. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. This a lot more options with this. That would have been good to know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a really great tool there.
Hey, that's why we do
but even
these.
better is the Blemish Blaster, which you would just hit those troubled areas you have, and it fixes them.
It's a different. I mean, it doesn't create the mask, but I mean,
right.
But it does take care of the blemish. I mean, that's
Okay. I'm going to make note of those because I will definitely be looking into those. Fame and Blemish Blaster.
That's
Cool.
that there's in lieu of the clone stamp.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Because it got like a better words, the averaging of the area around it automatically.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, because I've definitely noticed in the past when I've used the Blemish Blaster, the clone stamp, it doesn't do a very good job with kind of feathering and really blending that area that you're changing. And so then if you start to do some more extreme stretching and whatnot, you'll see those blemishes popping up again with the clone stamp circle instead.
Try the blemish blaster. You'll be amazed.
All right. I've got that on my to-do list. Thank you.
Good.
I love doing these things. You learn so much. So from here, so after we kind of get all of our RGB channels cleaned up and in a good presentable spot, this is where you start to get into your stretching. Now there's two different avenues that I think a lot of people take. One is the statistical stretch versus GHS. I don't know if it comes down to personal preference or not. I personally prefer the GHS because I have a lot more fine control of the stretch itself. I have never really seen, in my experience with my data, a statistical stretch that I prefer over me personally doing it with GHS. So I kind of did a little work for this. So I went through, so if you're going to do the statistical stretch, I did the the channel combination. I changed it into an RGB combined image. And then I went through is it the SETI Astro? Yes, SETI Astro statistical stretch and let it do its thing. Maybe I just haven't played around with the settings enough to get a result that I like better. I think I left it on, let's go just nebula filling images. I don't know if it has something to do with the target median or no. I think I left it at the 0.25. I did the automatic convergence, took the link stretch off, and then I did the stretching, and this is what it gave me was this image right here. to me, what did I do up here? Oh, I ran some noise exterminator. So it spit out a pretty blurry image to me. I'm not a huge fan of it. What I end up doing with GHS is this. It's not as stretched as the statistical stretch right now. I think honestly, this is probably another step that took me quite a while, was just fine tuning it. Because you can go in here and just, you can mess around with each individual RGB channel here, stretching those individually. You can stretch it as a whole. I went through and, so this is my red stretch channel that I did through GHS. There is the green, and then there is the blue. For me, I think the background is still not quite as dark as I want it to be. There's still a little more detail that you can bring out here, but it was to a point that I thought was good enough to combine. And that's where I got this image right here. Now you can still kind of see there's a little bit of some funky kind of coloration going on, and that is because if you zoom in a little bit here, you can see that your peaks of your channel colors here are not perfectly aligned, and that's just due to me manually stretching it and not being able to eyeball, you know, exactly how I stretch each individual channel. So you get a little bit of difference there, compared to if we take a look at the GHS. You can see right here, it did its statistical stretch, and all these peaks are exactly the same, lined up pretty much perfect together. So in my case, where I have this, you can do a real-time preview. And what I like to do is you can go into the RGB mode right here. And I used the red channel here as my reference. I switched it over to the green channel, and I line this cursor up. You can kind of see that cross right there. As close, you just eyeball it, as close to the peak of the green as I can. And then down here with your stretch factor, you can just manually stretch those and move it to kind of line all those peaks up. I did some playing around, and the green channel was, I believe, 0.25. Maybe not quite. Send SP 25. So that kind of like lines up the peak a little better there. I mean, you can definitely tinker with those numbers to get it a little closer, but for demonstration purposes.
You can use your arrows, Devin, to move it real small amounts.
Which ones?
Your
These ones
arrows,
right here too?
Your arrows on the number pad.
Oh, can you really?
Yeah, just make minor. You have to click into that field that you're trying to adjust. I mean, actually, what you can do this, I think, simpler just using histogram.
Well, GHS has a histogram.
Yeah, well, I
So
understand.
look at transformation there, Devin, where it says generalized hyperbolic.
Mhm.
And if you go there and choose linear,
Yeah, that's
you got a histogram right now, and you can move that blue over to the right, or if that's your goal. And you don't need any of those settings. You do it with the triangles at the top.
Triangles
You
at
just
the
do
top.
just the blue channel, and then you might need to zoom out so you can see the triangles. Yeah, and then you can see how you can.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can line those up.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So I'm learning multiple ways to do this. Wow.
So the GHS I'm starting to use more and more too. It takes a lot of time to learn it.
It does. Yeah.
But it has linear and it has GHS, which is great, and a few other things.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. So I ended up see if I can get these aligned now. You said you went to linear, and then you can just move those away. I'm not gonna be able to do it now that everyone's watching.
Yeah, the GHS. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
you got to find that triangle by zooming out.
Yeah, GHS is one of those things where I sit here and I just play around with it, and I eventually kind of get something
That's right.
that I like. I couldn't explain to you how I do it. I just managed to do it. Important thing to just know about GHS, it's a very iterative process. It's very easy to overdo. I just do very small steps at a time to.
Right. Merrill taught me to do that as well.
Yeah.
Just do baby steps. But I still
Yeah.
think a histogram, if you want to just get the alignment, and then you go back to GHS if you wanted to. But
Yeah,
there's many ways to skin a cat.
Right.
that's right. But yeah, so you can kind of mess around with those and to your pleasing and kind of get this image here to a point that you like. So once you go through that, the next step really is to mess, or at least for me, is where I start to mess around with my curves and adjustments here, start to bring out the saturation and the color, maybe make some more iterative steps to the stretch with GHS. One thing to note here, in this tutorial, I didn't do it, but you can also use that game, or like we just learned, the other study process, FAME, to cover this nucleus here. It's very easy to blow out. As you can see, it's already been done just through the GH stretch.
Click on that. Click on that bright core. Let's see what the readings are. Yeah. Yeah.
You're saturated. Yeah.
It's blown out. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So would highly recommend putting a mask over top of that to reduce the amount of stretch that you get with that highlight, since that area just naturally is so bright already. And then, so once I get to the point where, I like this comet, like I said, I don't really like how light that background is. To change that, what I do, I go into the linear mode here on GHS, and then under the low clips right here, if you put a 1 for the very last number, this will change that. Oh, so I should bring that up. So this will change that histogram here, and it will bring it to the absolute most black point before you start clipping all those blacks and whatnot. So it's kind of like just a good reference area where you don't want to go past that point.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I saw that on a YouTube video somewhere. So if now if you were to go past that, you're starting to clip. But I mean, the whole point of this is that's the very last point. Now you can kind of bring that back and change that background, get a little darker, or lighten it up to a point that you like. I'll do this through my iterative process. So I'll apply that, and then I will go back in and start stretching the comet itself out more, because I was able to bring out way more of the tail doing this. But for demonstration's sake, we'll leave it there. And now this is where I'm actually hoping that maybe you guys have some suggestions. Another area that I struggle in is getting really nice star color. My stars always, I mean, even though I'm taking RGB, just kind of turn out to be maybe like really like a yellowy kind of red saturated color or something like that. Whereas, you see all those pictures that people are posting where you get your nice blues and your reds and yellows and all these really nice colors. I've never been able to do that. So I don't know if you guys have any tips on that one.
Do you have the RGB stars?
I do.
Let's just
So the next step of that, once you kind of get that comet into a good spot where you're happy with it, would be to now go back to the stars that we already processed. You have your R, your G, and your B, which you removed with your star exterminator. You will use the process here, image integration again, or sorry, not image integration.
Channel, don't you want to
Channel
do
combination.
combination? Yeah.
Yep, channel combination. You'll drag your RGB into the respective little slots here and combine those into your colored stars, which does not look like much right now because we have not stretched those. So my little tidbit, which I've learned in some YouTube videos, is so we have our unstretched stars right here. We will go into the histogram transformation, open up a real-time preview. And we're just going to apply a tiny little stretch here just to start bringing out those stars, especially just those small little faint ones. Something like, honestly, something kind of like that. Nothing too crazy, maybe a smidge more. And then you can take this image right here and we're going to apply it to our comet with some pixel math. So we'll go into our starless image is the same as the GHS stretch. So we'll apply that there. And our star image is the RGB stars. RGB stars right there. Okay. And then we'll apply that. Oh, what did I do there? There we go. And we'll apply that there. And you just kind of get those nice, those background stars they're visible, they're nice, they're not kind of in your face. Now, the next step of this process is that you can now take the star image that we just start to stretch, and we're going to stretch it a little more and try and bring out some of those bigger, brighter stars. So something maybe around there. You don't want to blow them out too much. I don't like my stars, my images to be kind of in your face and subtracting from your overall image.
Yeah.
So this is just kind of like a little, I guess, a star reduction type technique that I've learned through just some YouTube videos. So we have this image now here where our stars are kind of fully stretched, and we are going to go into our range selection over here. And we're kind of watching. So you can kind of see here, like here's some big stars, kind of like these big bloated ones. Those are some of the primary stars that we're trying to focus on. We want to maximize kind of them shining through and trying to reduce the number in the background. And we're going to increase the smoothness here to help kind of blur out some of those smaller background stars. And we will create a mask. You can even go into convolution here and apply a little bit more blurring in the background. I don't always do this step here, but essentially just trying to blur out that blur the mask out. And then you can apply this mask to the partial star image. And you can see here that this mask is going to protect a good majority of the background, whereas where these big stars are, it's not as protected, and it's going to allow them to shine through a little more. So same thing, I just go in here and if you go to show mask, click on that, it's going to hide, like the mask is still applied. You can see right here on the left side image is still kind of that browny red color there. So your mask is still on, you're just not seeing the red. We're going to go back into the pixel math and we're going to do the same thing where we're going to apply the, did I change the name? So image 70 is what we're going to use. So image 70, and then we are going to use the RGB stars that we just stretched again. RGB stars. And we're going to apply that again, and that kind of gives us our overall image right here. Kind of get those nice stars that aren't super blown out, aren't super in your face. I find isn't like subtracting from the image overall. I mean, by all means, you can go in and, you know, refine your, like how blurry the mask is, your range mask and all that stuff to really get those stars reduced to a point that you like. And actually, I should have done this before, but before you apply that mask, once you start stretching your stars, you can apply a curves transformation or the color saturation to saturate those stars a little more to get some more color. But for me, like when I zoom in, it's a lot of the time it's just kind of like this reddy yellow color through all these stars. I never really get the blues and anything else. So from there, this is kind of like the end of my process. I might tweak it a little more with some more curve adjustments, but that is pretty much it.
What you asked were different ways of stretching your stars. Is this what you normally
Yes.
use? Is this what you use on your deep space objects as well?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever try the SETI star stretch?
I think I've played around with it a little bit. I want to say I found the same issue. I don't like the statistical stretch of it. I find it to be too much.
Okay. Well,
You can dial the color to the right and get some more color in it when you do the stretch.
And
Okay.
then you can do the script of reintegrate stars, and then you can choose how much reduction as you do it.
Yeah, see, you can remove the green if it's there,
Mhm.
and you can color boost it. See that?
Okay, I do see that. Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
But,
just why don't you just try that, and
Yeah.
then there's a script called reintegrate stars, and then you can choose to what size you want them at. I mean, yeah, what you did there is obviously looks really good, but
Yeah.
there's a whole lot of steps.
Yeah, it is a lot of steps.
Another good star stretcher is arc sign.
Yes,
Um,
yeah.
that really keeps that color strong.
I see.
Okay,
I see John put his screen on. So John, I know you have something to add.
Well, I was looking at, I mean, it's got RGB channels. What I would try is the narrowband RGB script from Study Astro.
Mhm.
And even if you've already combined them into RGB stars and you haven't stretched them yet, you can still use it. And it usually will try to color balance all the stars
Mm.
in that process. And you can do it. I still let it do the star stretch on it. I usually don't enhance the color with that. And then it'll come out and it'll look kind of faint like you got right there. It'll be maybe a little bit brighter, but not by much. Then you can go in and stretch a little bit more, and you can go into your other curves and add in a little more saturation or others to bring out some more of the color. And then the other thing I do is if I denoise it before I yank the stars out, then I don't worry about it. But if I yank the stars out before I run noise exterminator, I'll actually run noise exterminator on the star set afterwards. Because then if you look at them, you'll see noise around the star halos. You know, the
Oh,
fuzziness. It'll be
interesting.
kind of
Yeah.
noisy. Yeah, it'll be really noisy there. And if you run the noise exterminator on it, it cleans all those in a little better.
I guess I never noticed that, but I do usually before I finish up an image, like the very last step, I'll run like a very small amount of noise exterminator. So maybe, I've just unknowingly been clearing it up, but that's good to know.
Because I usually do the blur exterminator, then I yank the stars out separate. Then usually I'll stretch the image and not use the noise exterminator on that afterwards. Then when I go to process the stars, I usually use a narrowband RGB script. I'll bring up a little bit more, enhance them a little bit more, and then noise exterminator on those to clean them up.
Well, okay, so the question is, how do you recombine? Do you use the reintegrate stars script?
No, you can actually with the narrowband RGB, you can just specify because you have the HAS203, which is red, green, and blue. You got red and green and blue there. Just add those three in there and then let it go that way. See what it does.
It just adds them into it. Well, there is a RGB script. I mean, it reintegrates stars, and you can choose the size of the stars. You can reduce them as you do it, and you can play around with that as well.
Yeah, I've always found with the SETI Astro script that the stars are not too big to begin with.
Gotcha.
And I very rarely had to shrink them. I always just had to maybe bring them out a little bit more, to get a little more on the histogram, bring them up a little bit, and then get to how many stars you want and stuff like that. And then when you have the recombine the star, the other script I know, Merrill, you were talking about, you can actually, there is a star shrink checkbox.
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
you
yeah.
can shrink the
That's
stars
that's
down
the
if you go too far with them.
script utilities reintegrate stars.
No, don't do this one here. Go to bring up the
Narrowband was
narrowband RGB stars under the City Astro.
That isn't intuitive. Then what made you try
Go to
that?
City Astro.
Yeah.
Then you got narrowband RGB.
No. Again, why did you? I mean, that's just not intuitive for a
Well,
non.
for me, because I've been doing the dual band colors, the HA0302
Uh-huh.
and all that. And then I'll actually just go for one shot color or dual band filter. I usually select my image there and it'll do it because I've already inked the stars out and do all that stuff. Otherwise, I've done it this other way before, and I don't since I don't shoot mono, I don't have actual red, green, and blue, actual data like he's got. I'm more curious on how it's going to look when it takes red, green, and blue data and then shift it out and everything.
I have to give that a try.
This is what I'm getting here.
Yeah, a little bit more orange in here.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you can go in to bring up your curves transformation, and then you can, test a little bit that way by adding a little more saturation or take a little bit, up and down the saturation top and bottom area and see how well it looks. And I also use the chrominance, I think it is, the C1, I believe.
See,
Yeah, that one there. And I'll add a little bit to that and see what it does. But I mean, because I know it almost performs like magic on mine because I've only got HA and like red and green or red and blue data on my filter sets, and it will convert it to RGB, and it looks really good.
Devin, just for fun, try the reintegrate stars. Just cancel that out just a second. Go to script, utilities, reintegrate stars. You don't have it.
No,
Well,
I don't. Well,
forget that idea.
Okay, I'm going to add that to the list to download.
That's
I posted my list of repositories that I use, and if it's in there somewhere, it's in one of the other utility ones. You just add all that crap in there, and it'll show.
Okay.
Well, the net of it is you can take your stars and add them to your main image, and you can choose 100% down to whatever low percentage.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the other.
That's not the one that we did right there. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely see a difference there. Definitely more saturated. You got some nicer colors in there.
Yeah. You just have to play with it a little bit. On the other star colors, you may have to shift things. You may actually have too much green in there.
Yeah.
Something like that. You can actually do the invert the image and do the green SCNR on it, and then reinvert it back. If you see magenta in it, that takes care of all that, which is the green in RGB.
Yeah. And then with some playing around, you should hopefully, that was the final image that I came up with there. So my other question was, as you can see, like when you zoom in, you can kind of see that mismatch of the different color channels. Any ideas what that's from? I'm assuming it's just because that comet is moving pretty fast, and so you're not going to get 100% overlap of all your RGB channels when you're imaging mono, was my best guess.
Yeah, I couldn't. I was looking at your data. I was playing with it, and I saw the same thing. I cannot explain it.
I think it's just the residuals because your comet tail is shifting from image to image.
Yeah, that was
and
my
now you're going to come
guess.
and you're realigning it all into one, but it's not a perfect tail on all the images. So you're going to have a little bit of variances here and there.
Yep.
That was my best guess. Is the reason why some of the color shift's going to be off here and there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's the dicks inside gremlins in there painting different colors in there for you.
You're right.
I mean, look at what I did to my comet. I got a lemon head on it now. So.
There's another process I throw in here, Devin. Can you zoom in on that core a little bit more of that image? You can zoom out a little bit. Okay, there. There's this thing called it's a wavelet. So go to a process and HDRMT. It's one of the wavelets.
Oh, HDRMT, RMT right there. How about this right here?
I don't see it. Yes. So drop that on 7 and click to intensity and just drag it on your image.
There.
To
Yeah.
intensity.
Yeah.
Oh, to intensity right there. Okay.
Yeah. That makes it a color corrected.
Oof.
Do you see how you can get more lines out of this? Because the data is there.
Mm-hmm.
And this HDRMT tool, you just added 2 hours to your processing time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to go play with all that.
But
I did
Right,
before you had
right.
stars.
you see those lines, how they, you can get some lines that weren't even there.
Yeah, I see that. It really
Yeah, but
defines
you
kind of
got to
down
be
there.
careful with it. 7 might have been too much. You might go to 6, might go to 8. But this is a very powerful tool
Mm,
in everything you do, especially Nebula.
yeah. Okay.
So,
I'll have
so
to keep
my
that in mind.
philosophy now is I overstretch.
Mhm.
I overstretch stuff, and I let HDRMT bring back the burnt out cores.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah. One other one that I really like is this local histogram equalization.
right. That's a
Very
contrast tool.
yeah, very easy to overdo this one. But oof.
0.2 amounts is my secret. 0.2 or
Yeah, I do 0.2
Yeah.
on the
amount.
bottom one.
Yep.
And
Yep.
Yeah.
I dialed that one way back, and even like
Yeah.
less than 0.2
Yeah.
does a lot of work.
Yeah.
I like that one, and then the other one that I like for nebulosity is the dark structure enhance.
Yes.
Probably one of my favorite tools to use towards the end.
Hmm.
Yeah, but that's kind of my spiel there and how I went about processing my comment.
Well, it's great. It's a good looking comment.
Thanks.
Beautiful.
Oh, I guess the other issue that I kind of ran into, this is just the RGB. Any thoughts on how to incorporate the luminance data? I've never truly been able to kind of get that to ever work out.
Okay, for comets, you don't think of you look at your initial stretch of all of those,
Hmm.
and your blue data blows away all of the other.
Hmm.
If you look at your blue, green, and red, and luminance is your worst data.
Yep.
And the ironic thing is you have like 25 of these frames,
Yes,
and on
unfortunately.
the red, green, and blue you only had 10. So it's counterintuitive. It just must have been low in the sky when you shot it.
Yes.
So my suggestion to you is use the blue data. So you use
Mm.
the data that has the most detail, and your blue would have been perfect for the luminance.
Okay. My thought process, this data right here, I was up at a star party in Virginia. This was the second night that I imaged this data. So the first night, I focused on getting the luminance first, and then I ran out of time and did not get enough RGB to make a full colored image.
Right.
So that was my learning experience this time around. And so the second night, I focused on getting at least, a little bit, like 10 minutes each of the RGB, so I could at least walk away with something, and then tried to get that luminance data last. But I mean, like you said, like I was saying earlier, by the time it got dark and everything was up and running, you had not quite an hour to get your data.
Right.
So
It was low the whole time, Devin.
yeah, but yeah, overall, still
But I
happy
couldn't
with.
believe your blue data was amazing. It was just totally amazing. Yeah.
Guess not that stretch, that off stretch, but
Mhm. And just that, if that was your luminance, you would have had something there.
Mm. Now, were you saying that you could extract the luminance from this blue to then apply onto the
No,
RGB?
your blue is the luminance. Just say, okay,
Oh, I see
my
what you mean. I
entire
see.
blue is the luminance, and
Yep.
then you play with it. You stretch it
Gotcha.
differently,
Yep.
and that would have. But you got a lot of great detail out of the RGB. So no, I don't
Yeah.
know how much better it would have made it. It's just
Right.
it was a great image.
Mhm.
Yes. Okay,
Thanks.
it's 8:15. I would like to at least spend a few minutes on the Barnard's loop and find out what John's doing. That's going to be my winter project this year, since this is cloudy most of the time anyway. So, what are you doing, John?
Well, since when I did it last year, I had my 533 on the little scope. So it was giving me, I think it was 64 panels. And I'm basically doing pretty much the whole lower half of the Orion complex. So from the top to the bottom and over to the right side of it to cover a little bit more to get the whole loop in there, or the big gigantic arc. Well, now I've got my Player One camera on there, so it's a bigger sensor. It's like twice as big, a little bit more than twice as big. So now I'm down to 40 panels. And since I let Nina take the wheel, it picks and chooses what it wants at the time when it comes up. And I think I've got 2 panels it's already worked on. So I've got my panel 36 and panel 40. Because it's the one, since it's in the east coming up, those are the ones on the west side that it sees first. And actually, I think panel 40 is already done. So it's doing the tri-band filter. So I'm doing 5-minute tri-band filter shots on it. I'm doing.
Anything you show us? Anything worth showing?
No. Right now, there's just pretty much just a star field.
Oh, Starfield. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's out past the loop area.
But
you're doing
you're
40
actually
panels.
Yeah.
John, what is the focal length of your scope?
336.
Okay. All right.
But you're actually
you're getting a lot of it.
My plan is to get all of it, from east to west, north to south on the whole loop, and so it covers almost the whole Orion middle upper section and lower section of the main constellation. So you get the 3 stars in the middle. You'll have the Horsehead Flame in there. You're going to have the M78 is going to be in there. I think I've also got it set where it should pull out or try to get to the Witch's Head Nebula. So when you look at the loop, it kind of ends, and then as it ends at the bottom, it heads back to the west side. You run into the Witch's Head Nebula. So I've got that included in this whole set here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm only doing like 3 hours of data, I think. I think I'm getting 36 images on the tri-band 5-minute sets. And so each panel will be 3 hours.
Holy.
And one of those, and I might go in, once I identify the panels that I like, I might go in and add in some HA03 data, into those panels. I'll always go into Nina and find those panels that add in there, and then they'll pick them back up and add those when it goes to do it again.
There's a lot of HA in that region.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I know. And what's really nice is with the tri-band filter, it does HA. It's a wider band than what I have on my normal dual band filter. So it's a wider band area. And it has it's basically a dual band filter, and they add in a blue channel, almost a full blue. It's a kind of trimmed down blue area, like a blue filter into that so that makes it the tri-band. So yeah, actually it comes out pretty good. It makes the RGB stars look really good.
So the net of it, you are starting that imaging and this early.
Oh, if it's gets above, I think 35 or 40 degrees, and Nina sees it and it's got nothing else to do, it'll do it. I got all 40 panels in Nina under the target schedule.
Okay, so I need to get on. I need to get on with it.
Yeah.
What you're saying.
I was looking against some hydrogen data for you. That would be a 4x8 mosaic for me.
Yeah. Well, if I can pull out one of my camera lenses and do like 55 millimeter and get all of it.
Yeah.
But I figure, well, I want to get more detail. I was wanting to get like a little more definition and stuff, and 336 does pretty good. So my Orion Nebula, I mean, like what you got behind you, Steve, I can do that with my 533 can do that in 8 pounds. And this 571 will do it like in, I think, 3 or 4 pounds.
So that's one shot with my scope. So I have I have a little bit better situation than you have for this loop.
Right. Now, if I got one of my camera lenses out and did it and just hooked up that way, then yeah, I could probably get the whole thing. I wanted to get a little bit closer to it so I can bring out a little more detail. So when when I build the whole mosaic and when you kind of zoom into it, it doesn't like just get blurry and loses the feature. You'll actually start seeing them.
So Devin, are you going to get some of this Bernard's? Are you Devin? Are you going to get some of this loot? Did I lose him?
No,
Oh, sorry, I went on mute for some reason. Yeah, I can try to contribute some of this HA. My problem is I've got trees behind my house, and Ryan is rising up pretty late in the evening right now.
Yeah, I got panel 40. It's got a little bit of HA, and I can show you that.
Yeah. My question is, because like when I try to do one of these big mosaics over multiple weeks, is the phase of the moon was affecting the data that I was trying to stitch together.
It does that.
yep.
Yeah. It's like
John
there's
has
just
some tricks. John has some tricks with that mosaic maker that you might want to talk to him about when he gets.
Well, remember we have a video from John's presentation last year on it, so it's still in our YouTube.
Oh,
archive.
that's right. I
There's
vaguely
some
remember
really
that.
good information in that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I was
Yeah.
doing like 4-panel mosaic. I mean, 4, 6, and 8 do pretty good, but it's 40-panel ones. I think I have to be a little bit different approach to it.
What's
I'm
the
seeing
percent?
a little HA there, John.
Yeah, it's on the right hand side. Yeah, this one's got some HA, and I think it's toward the end of the. It's actually, I think, upside down.
Yeah.
I may have to rotate it around.
What's the moon percentage there? Is that dark?
I don't know the moon percentage on this one. This was done on the 13th of October. 13th and 20th of October. I don't think the moon was out that much.
Okay.
But I got it to where it'll avoid. I got the moon avoidance set to it should be 60 degrees away from the moon when it goes to do the shooting. So if the moon's in the area, it won't shoot.
Cool.
So it's really not too bad. I mean, that's just a quick process that threw it together. But I mean, it's the tri-band filter. I got the antler tri-band, so it does bring out some of the HA pretty decent.
Yeah, it's gonna work.
Yeah, that looks good.
Plus, I also get really good color on the stars.
That's right.
So do we want to spend any more time tonight talking about filters, or do you want to say that we got a good meeting tonight and save it for next time?
Well, I did a 16-slide presentation on the dual narrowband filters.
Well,
I was finishing that off as where I was muted. I was still finishing it off.
Let's have that lead off the next meeting, Merrill.
Yeah. Let's do that. Okay.
But can I show a video of ASI Air doing this?
Sure. Heck yes.
Okay, let's see. This will be quick. Is somebody sharing right now?
Yeah, John was.
Okay. There, share. So this is how you do it in ASI Air, and what I'm going to do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 3 panel. I'm going to just hit play here. So you just play with these panes here to make that a 5 and then a 3, and then you just drag it to the area in question, and then you hit that plan button there, and it sends this plan to your plan area, Devin, and those of you who use ASI Air.
Yes, this was such a nice update.
And then so what do you think, John? I think I'm getting it all. You think I need to expand that?
What is the shading in the background? Is that the loop itself?
Yeah, you can see the C of the loop.
Yeah, I think the loops go a little bit. I mean, it starts fading out when it gets up toward Bellatrix, so you're missing some of that up there, I believe.
Okay, so I probably need to add another panel.
Yeah, what about down farther south?
Okay.
Bottom side. Keep going down.
Unfortunately, this is a video, so I don't know if I got it. And then here you just set your exposures and everything. I don't know. You've already done all this. Okay, I'm glad I talked to you, John. I got to add 3 more.
And what scope are you using there?
I'm using just a little 60 millimeters, like 180 focal length. And actually, if you look at my background, I'll stop share. if you look at my background with the horse head, and the Great Orion Nebula in the upper right, that's one shot.
Mm-hmm.
That is one frame.
That's nice.
Yeah, with my 336 focal length, I can get both of those in the same shot with the 571 sensor, but it doesn't get all of the HA or all of the horse head area, or but it can squeeze it in, but it's a tight shot.
Okay.
So last year I did LRGB. It felt like I ought to be doing some HA with this whole thing as well,
Yeah, there's a lot
Yeah.
of HA in that
The
region.
Barnard loop, all it is really just HA.
primarily. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
You can shoot it all HA. It should probably be good for the loop.
Yeah, I'm shooting it all with L enhanced to start with. I'm going to try a little the new synergy with the O3 data.
I'm just using the
The
tri-band on
S2
this.
data. The S2
Yeah.
data. Yeah.
Now we'll shoot Orion and the Horsehead with the two dual bands I got, which is the HA03 and the H beta S2 filter sets.
Yeah.
I'll do those like individually to see how they come out. So I've been kind of surprised. Not everything has H beta data, but like North American Complex has got a lot of it, and Pac-Man had some of it, and what else? The Elephant Trunk didn't have a lot. It had a little bit. You could barely make it out, but at least had a little bit of data, but not really strong like the North American area.
Okay. Well, this good conversation tonight. A lot of good stuff to learning, and we'll save the other topics till next month, and probably find some additional ones between now and then. Anything else before we sign off?
It'll give me a chance to get my presentation up to 50 slides like I normally do. So
There you go. Yes, yeah, I'm counting on it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop recording. Thanks for your help, everybody, and we're going to sign off here.